Hello and welcome to Mari's Golden Hour. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh my goodness. So I actually had recorded and I think might have gotten halfway through recording and I realized that I didn't actually record at all. And so, wow. So this is actually a huge take two for me. And I don't know, there's some kind of joy in that, and also some kind of, there's a word that's right on the tip of my tongue, and it is, it's not hubris, it's not irony. Boy, I don't know what it is, but it's just some kind of something about, you know what? Hey, all right, here we go. Let's just do it again. And it's not that I was saying or relaying any sort of lofty ideals and ideas, and I was on my high horse about anything. None of that at all. But it's like, well, all right, it's just that's my life. So let's do it again, Sam. So it's been an emotional week. And I felt like it started at, 1 and then kind of like amped up gradually throughout the week, getting into something pretty deep and heavy towards the end, and well into the end of the week. So, because it lasted into Saturday. And I was roped into a long conversation, and problematic things were said. Not so much that, not that I'm going to cut off the friendship in any way, but this is a rather lengthy conversation, really lengthy, and I absorbed a lot. I was mainly there as a soundboard, and they had a lot to get off their chest, and it wasn't with me, but it was things with their own family. But I think I was kind of used as that substitute for their family, so there was just it was rather heated. So I already hadn't been sleeping well for the past couple of weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, and because I've been absorbing just things from other people, whether they are strangers or people that I do know. I haven't been releasing that as much as I should be. And no, I'm not going to use you guys to dump on, but maybe I am. Well, ideally, that's what podcasts are about. It's not just me. It's, I think, with everybody. We use this as a chance to release and get it out there, so we don't bottle that stuff up, because bottling it up, it does nobody any good. It creates what I consider a disease, and that's how other problems end up flaring up. So you got to release it some kind of way. And as I said, I know I'm not the only podcast that does that. So I don't know. It lets us all know that we're not alone. And for that, I thank all of you for hanging in there with me and checking in with me every once in a while. So thank you. So yeah, I haven't been sleeping well, and I also haven't been eating well, admittedly. I've just fallen off that wagon so much and so often. And so I am embarking on, I like to think of it as an eating change, an eating switch. And it's nothing new. It's just, for me, I'm just going to experiment with clean eating, and eating cleaner, and doing different tweaking things to have that work for me and in my life and in a reasonable budget, because let's face it, a lot of the organic stuff, it is not cheap. So I don't get it, but I do, but I don't, but I do, but I don't. So working on that, and I also realized that I hadn't been out in nature in quite some time, so I am making a conscious effort to do that, because that helps out so much. So working on those things, and we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you guys posted with that progression. And already, I think like a day or 2 days in, I can sense a difference. Even with all the negativity that got just blown my way, I can still feel that buoyancy. And other things happen to help alleviate that, and I might get into that later. So, I've been thinking a lot about my mom this week and missing her, and again, that's increased as I went through this week. And so actually, I was in a meeting, and I ended up hearing an idea for hospice and hospice care, and I don't want to get into too many details about that, but because I don't know if this person's actually going to do something with it. I hope they do, and if not, I know that somebody will at some point. I don't know, maybe that person is me to help that person to spearhead that and get it going. And it's not about me taking credit for it, but just maybe helping that person visualize that as a great idea and something that will help others. Because ideally, everything that we do, it is to service others. If we do have this awesome, great job, that is a service to other people. Even if we have a job that we are not completely happy with, it is of service to somebody else in some sort of way. And you never know what you do, no matter that job that you have, how that will help other people in some way, shape, or form. It can be tiny, it can be grand. So never discount yourself. And I say that to you with a warm heart. As I say it, I ended up having a couple sips of that yummily delicious sangria, and it's on an empty stomach, so I might be tripping up on my words. I do apologize, but all these things I say out and help as a suggestion for other people, but it's also a reminder for myself. So beep boop 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 boop. Yes. So, this idea, it was the idea that was mentioned for hospice. I just was thinking about my mom even more, and that I wish that she had some sort of a hospice care for when she was leaving this mortal coil. And due to when she left us, which was at the height of the pandemic, in April, everything was still rather new, and it was all a shock. And she was not surrounded by friends and family, but it was people at the hospital, doctors and nurses, and all the staff at the hospital. And I just wish that she had, even if it couldn't be family, just somebody just to hold her hand and to escort her, like I said, off this mortal coil. Just a caring soul that was there. Because I couldn't be there to physically witness anything, and I'd like to think that the doctors and nurses that were seeing her and helping her through this, I hope that they were caring people. I don't know. I'm not thinking the worst of people, but I'm still working through it. Sorry, people, still working through it. But I just wish that she wasn't alone. I guess family and friend wise, at the very, very last. Anyway, I'm going to get off of this because I don't want to bum anybody out or bring anybody down. But so as I was thinking through this and just thinking about my grieving process, and am I grieving okay? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it too right? Am I, just all those questions. I was questioning myself about it, and I've been doing that for months now. But anyway, I got myself off of that particular rabbit hole, and I just wanted to boost myself back up and think of better times. And So anyway, different meeting. Um, somebody was mentioning something very, very serious, and the some of the comments that were made, people were very serious with their comments, and in my state of mind, for whatever reason, I just felt like giggling and laughing, and I don't know, it wasn't funny. It wasn't, but something just tickled my funny bone, and I was thinking, man, am I being an ass? Because I was doing my best to keep a straight face. Hopefully, that showed through, that I didn't laugh, or that I didn't want to laugh. And I thought, well, maybe I just needed something completely opposite, so I could focus on levity and not being down and sad and sappy and weepy like that. And I was about ready to break into a giggle fit. And so I don't know. It also reminded me of two dear friends who got married, and I was in the wedding party. And it's a beautiful wedding, beautiful people, and it was a beautiful ceremony. But I don't know what it was. I was about ready to bust up. I could not stop it. I was trying to contain myself as much as I could, and I'm pretty sure, I was facing the groom. Glad that I wasn't facing the bride, because I don't know if she would have thrown daggers at me, like whether they be virtual daggers from her eyes or actual real daggers that she would have pulled out of her wedding gown somewhere to throw at me. But hopefully the groom knew that I was coming from a good place and I was not being disrespectful, or at least I was trying not to be disrespectful. But I could not stop laughing, and I was trying to contain it, and I couldn't look at anybody else. I don't know, but it reminded me of that. And those two extremes, it's the wedding and mourning, and so death and weddings and unions and just the serious times can bring out those giggle fits. Anyway, let me move on along. Just to sidestep and get back to the not holding on to things, is letting it go, whether it is to yourself and you're talking out loud, and maybe it's by journaling, maybe it is by calling another friend. And mind you, even with the lengthy conversation that I had, and even though some things that were said were problematic, I did listen, and I was actively listening, and we were still friends. But observing others can be therapeutic as well. Whether it is watching the way that a parent interacts with their child when they're playing at the park, or it is just watching somebody walk across the street. Maybe it's how they walk, and there's something zen about that, which I believe just even the mundane can be therapeutic and gets oneself out of their brains. I don't know if I'm just babbling. I don't know if I'm making sense. There is a point to there somewhere, but I don't know. Even listening to other people, that could be therapeutic. Just listening, observing, because, I don't know, you just never know what other people are going through, and we are all going through something at some point, and sometimes we're all going through something together, but, I don't know, just leaning into each other, and we can all use each other to help and heal. And I'm going to get off the sappy train, and let me move on to other stuff. Now, I believe that I mentioned this artist before. Her name is Yebba, Y-E-B-B-A. The song that I randomly heard, and I think this was like back in May, and again, this was like during my time of like grieving, but I didn't have time to grieve, and things were just too busy and chaotic, but I was still just like, that roller coaster. I heard her song Distance, and man, it is just really, I don't know, I love it. If you're in that mood for some moody music, that is one of my suggestions. And I was reminded of that by somebody reaching out and asking for new music. Actually, did they ask? Oh, no. Well, they kind of asked by just letting me know about it, because they know me. And if you're just going to put that out there, you know that I have suggestions. So that's kind of what they did. They're working their magic. The other one, because I was on that particular train, and it was also part of the suggestions, and I think I saw it through YouTube Music. It is All I Need by Jacob Collier, which I know the name, and I think I know his name from him collaborating with other people, or maybe I came across that particular song like eons ago, and that's how the name sticks out, because I loved the song when I first heard it, and I loved it now. But these are just jams that I was playing this week, and I'd forgotten about, and just kind of, I don't know, getting back into a groove, and me reconnecting with music is one of those ways to get back into that groove. So All I Need by Jacob Collier, it features, Mahalia, Mahalia, and Ty Dolla Sign. That song has a pretty decent groove and that beautiful, just that funky bass line, where there's the sharps and the progression and just that funky words. There are words to describe it. I can't think of it right now. And my limited music theory is just like out the window, so I can't verbalize it. But once you hear it, you know what I'm talking about. And just like anything, I feel like a lot of the funky, groovy music has that. Just a lot of the sharps and the different key changes into sharps. There's a word for it. Escapes me. Anyway. Let's see, what was the other one? Dive, D-I-V-E, by Victoria Monet, like Monet, like the painting, so there's that accent over the E. That one, just groove into that. And then the other is BRB by the same artist I mentioned earlier, Mahalia, tomato, Mahalia. I don't know if you happen to know the proper pronunciation for her name. Please share that. But yeah, the music, it's even though the music that I just suggested to you guys is kind of like just chill and maybe moody or groovy, it's definitely, it's not hype. But I don't know, in a way, I think All I Need is slightly hypey, but not that, not to the point of dubstep, not quite that hype. But yeah, just using music in order to lift that mood of mine, and using nature to lift up my mood and my spirits. I ended up using it a lot today. I really needed it. Both the music and the nature to get myself out of that funk. And the other thing to do along with music is just dance. Anytime you're feeling down, play the music. Music's going to help, and dance it out. And so let's see, what else? Well, I don't know. I know I'm probably stating the obvious, but another weird and wonky week. And I know that the obvious is on everybody's mind. Again, doesn't matter which side you're on. And everybody has a right to their opinions. Just don't bring harm to yourself, and do not bring harm to others with your beliefs. But I guess if you really want to harm yourself, I mean, that is on you. That is your choice, but please don't. So again, so politics aside, but and I know I don't need to comment on the obvious. My only little side thing about that, and I'm sorry, but I was like kind of sitting there with my mouth open, just the not denouncing white supremacy and that hatred. I'm a little speechless on it, but I'm not going to be speechless here because nobody wants dead air. What else? So along with this weird and wonky week. One of the things I saw, I'm pretty sure that it was this week, if not like maybe end of last week, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this week. So we had or still have, we didn't lose the guy. Let's see, a man in full, and I'm talking full on body tats, head to toe, teaching kinders, little munchkins, little kinder children, a teacher teaching kinders, and he was let go. The children, I don't know, not all the kids, but I guess some were claiming that he was giving them nightmares. And now, I kid you not, and you can look this article up yourself. If I remember correctly, I think the guy, this was in Britain, and he, I guess maybe he started with, your basic tats, and it grew and grew and grew, and, full sleeves and whatnot. But this man, head to toe, and I don't know if he has those gauges like in his ears, like the big expanding ones, I can't remember, but head to toe, and I'm not exaggerating, head to toe filled, full on tattoos. And in addition to full on tattoos, and not just the neck, not ears, like the whole face and his head, everything, head to toe, I'm not exaggerating. In addition to that, he also had some sort of a procedure to black out his eyes. And, when I came across this, I was just like, what? Because I have my own little, well, not little, but even with LASIK surgery, I know people who have had it. I know people who do get that surgery done. I'm personally leery of it, but it's a procedure that's done. And even for that, people come out of that and they experience no problems and their life is great and gravy. And I'm more power to them. I'm happy for them, and I want to continue to be happy for them. But for me personally, that's something I would not do. That's just me. But there's a lot of things that other people do that I won't. Some people like to go bungee jumping. I'm not one of those people. But he blacked out his eyes. And, I don't know, maybe I'm mentioning a band that is before anybody's time, but there's this band, I think, Limp Bizkit, Wes Borland is in that band, and his stage persona, he would have those contacts in his eyes that would black out his eyes. But this dude, the one that's all tatted out, he surgically had that done. And I gotta tell you, it's freaky. But to me, it's like, if you want to have that look, the contacts will do it. And I only say that because he can live his life, he can do what he wants to do. Do you, boo, as some people will say. But to black out your eyes like that, I don't see where that's safe for him to do. But more power to him. And if that makes him happy, great. Now, from what I read in this article, he seemed to express surprise at being let go from his job. And it's a teaching job that apparently he's had for a while, and he loves it, and the kids love him. But once he expanded beyond his neck and then did the whole entire head and face and the eyes, I think that was it. Nope. The parents weren't having it. Kids definitely weren't having it. And I know I made this comment to some people already that, you can have a job in the Jim Rose Circus, be a musician, and do that, live your life. But there's a certain protocol, and I know that that's not kosher with everybody, or maybe it's, dimming the light of somebody's dreams. But, we all have we've all have had jobs in the past, in the present, and in the future. And it doesn't matter what the job is. Every job is going to come with their own set of, these are our rules. And these are the rules that we want you to abide by. Some jobs will have stricter rules than others. And there are some jobs that maybe they don't have any rules, but really every job has some sort of protocol, something. But for a teaching job, I know that there was a handbook someplace, and it was about, there's, a dress code, there's appearance, and there's all the different kinds of paperwork that you have to sign for a lot of different things. And I can't imagine that this would fly. And, the other thing that I thought was that, I don't care how cool and edgy and rock and roll a parent is, they will not let that fly even in school. It's like, no, dude, you are teaching my child. And even, like, no matter how edgy and rock and roll the parents are, and, because I taught their kids. I've been around them. I know. I've seen it with my own eyes. And even if I wasn't teaching them, I am aware of those kids. Like, I don't care how edgy and cool the parent is, no matter where they are in their game, okay? Their kid is not going to have that edgy of a look. As edgy as they will get, it might be in their haircut, maybe it's in what they're wearing, but you're not even going to see the kid go in with like full-on tattoos and piercings and all that, because they want their kid to just be a kid, and they expect I guess I know I'm going to say this, I'm going to phrase this wrong, but just know that I was in it too. They're going to expect like a certain amount of boringness to their teachers, the teachers that are teaching their kids. And it's not in the teaching style. Don't get me wrong. It's not about the style, but, it is about appearance. And no parent wants their teacher to have a physical look that actually scares their children. Nobody does. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm off that tangent. What else happened this week? And I think maybe some people heard about this, that the cake maker, who makes those cakes of really, really cool designs, apparently he might not be able to make cakes anymore. And when I read the article, I didn't read the follow-up article that came out maybe days after, but I wondered, at first just reading it, it's like, wait, you injured your hand how? And just in reading it, it sounded pretty graphic, and I'm not going to go into details because you can Google up the information yourself. But I wondered if there was something shady behind it, as far as what led up to the injury. So I don't know. It's pretty graphic. But so that's been part of the weird week. So we have tatted up teachers. We got a cake maker who might not be able to make cakes anymore. There might be a potential zero carbon airplane in our future. And the article itself, it was actually rather long. I got so far and it's like, I need to read this another time when I can sit down with some snacks and coffee or something. But so it looks like they want to create, and I know that this talk has probably been in the works before, but people are like, that's crazy talk. But now, just in light of everything and the way our world is changing, they're looking at concepts of zero emission or zero carbon emissions with the airplane. And they're thinking, just a rough guesstimating, like within 15 years, that they will have something that like more concrete. So I don't know. I'll do some more investigating on that one. But just know that, hey, it's out there. The future is now. What else is part of our crazy week? A zoo full of parrots that are cussing everybody out. I find that hilarious. Unfortunately, the people at the zoo did not, and they moved the birds elsewhere. I don't think they 86 the parrots, but they definitely don't have them, I guess, front and center. So, but like I said, I find that hysterical. So I don't know who trained those birds or who those birds were around, but they had a mouthful of things to say to all the people that were coming into this place. So, but that one obviously reminded me of this bird that I know that a friend has, that he's considered the pirate bird, and let's just say that he is very, very lewd, and that bird kind of makes me feel like when I leave, going home and taking a shower instantly. Yeah, the bird is that lewd, and maybe another story for another time. But moving along, so the zero emissions. That I don't know. Just when I read about that, I just feel like, you know what? No idea is crazy anymore. I don't know how anybody could feel that anything is like, what? That's far-fetched. No way could that happen. No, we're living in a different time now, much where a lot of things, they are no longer tolerated, because, I'm sure we'll see this when we look at movies from the past, and I'm not even talking about, like, the very first movie ever made, because that was obviously problematic, but just, movies that came out in certain decades, whether it be the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the aughts, movies that we thought were okay are not, they hit different now. Even music that we listen to, not all of it, but some, it's like, wait, what? That song is about what? Personally, like, when I first heard it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like the melody. But when I listen to the lyrics, I'm like, wait, this is a very huge international band, and they sell records, and people still buy the records, and they still bop to this. Has anybody ever listened to the words in, like, Steely Dan or Donald Fagen when he went solo? Like, that stuff's not okay. I don't understand how he got away with that. And, I'll still kind of bop to it, but it's like, I don't feel right doing so. I'm there just for the melody, not for the lyrics. But, anyway, nothing is new anymore. I don't think anything is crazy, and I don't want to say nothing is new, but I don't think anything is too far-fetched as far as, like, new and innovative ideas are concerned. It's like, sky's the limit now. But with all this wackiness and the weirdness and the wonkiness that was going on this week, it didn't hit me until earlier today, that, we had a full moon last night. And I wonder if other people were affected by the full moon, or everything leading up to the full moon. If I was thrown off and affected by it, maybe I was. They do say that the moon does have a powerful effect, and definitely on water, and we're made up of a lot of water, so just saying. But to lighten up this week, and the best thing that I read and came across, even better than zero carbon emissions from airplanes, even better than a lovely full moon. Although, I don't know, I do love a full moon. But get ready for this, because Popeyes is testing warm beignets stuffed with chocolate. Yeah, Popeyes, people, is testing warm beignets stuffed with chocolate. Now, if that is not a cause for celebration, I do not know what is. I know that because it's Popeyes, because it's a fast food chain, I don't know about you, but fast food, I do tend to like poo-poo the notion of fast food, even though I would like to have it and it's delicious. Again, this is me just being mindful of what I'm eating. But I do miss having Popeyes, because, oh yeah, it's Popeyes that has the really, really good side of the beans and rice, and those biscuits, and that chicken. I'm putting some honey on those biscuits along with the butter. Oh, But I don't know. I think I'm going to have one of those breakdowns and just check out Popeyes. Now, you know what? I'm going to have to wait to check out Popeyes, because if I remember correctly, they're testing this. I don't know if it's in just like limited cities or if it's just Boston. I remember seeing something about Boston, but I don't know if it's more than that. Now, why Boston is mentioned and not Louisiana, which is where I believe the headquarters is, and in Louisiana, that is obviously home of beignets. Why that city would not be a test city, I have no idea. I don't know if it's because, well, that is the home of beignets, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to mess around with it. But still, it's Popeyes. And they have a lot of that New Orleans Cajun flavor going on, like all throughout that menu. So I am hoping And I believe that they will eventually go nationwide with this. And when they do, I am going to be in line for it. I am ready because beignets, warm, chocolate-filled, delicious, powdered sugar. And I haven't had it in ages. And actually, I think even when I was in New Orleans, I don't think I had beignets when I was there. I had and did plenty of other things, but beignets, I don't think that was one of them. Huh, interesting. At least I don't think so. I mean, no, I do think it's interesting, but I just don't think I've had beignets while I was in New Orleans. Huh. And the last time that I did have a beignet was at this awesome soul food restaurant that I'm not too sure if it's still in LA, but it is, I kind of described it as sort of like an elevated soul food restaurant. So if you imagine soul food, that's, you know, to me, some of those, the best soul food places can be those down and dirty, nitty gritty places where it's like you feel the grandmas in the back just like whipping up a batch of anything. It is delicious. Same taste, but more expensive at this place. And so I had the great fortune of being invited to a dinner that was just lovely. And I remember it to this day, even though it happened years ago. But I had a beignet there, and man, I almost cried. It was so delicious. And I almost wanted to just kiss the chef and just love up on that chef. And but I had to verbally give her the love. Awesome work. And I just hope that soul food restaurant is still there, because I will be more than happy to dine there again in the future when things kind of calm down. So I think I mentioned this, but nature. If you are ever feeling low, and again, I say this to you as I say it to myself. I just needed to vocally verbalize this out loud so I can take it in myself. Just go out into nature. Nature is the best balm you can have. Not like lip balm, although lip balm, that is quite healing as well. But I love fall. I love everything about fall. I love the food and the smells and the atmosphere. And to me, I feel like fall is like a new beginning, a new start. It's fresh. Even more than like the new year. I look at fall as like, okay, here's a chance. Let's try this again. Let's see if we can get things going, and let's recalibrate and begin again. And I just love it. And fall is like the kickoff to all the holidays, and I don't know, even though all the holidays anymore are like just lumped closer and closer together as years go on. Because I don't remember the holidays being this lumped closely together when I was a kid. If they were, please let me know, but I don't recall that ever. Like, each holiday had its own separate chunk of time. And then when you're done with that, then you moved on to the next. And the closest you ever got, at least back in my home, Thanksgiving Day was all about just making the turkey and making all the sides and making the biscuits. And Mom made these awesome biscuits that were just buttery and just so delicious and tasted so good days after Thanksgiving. And you were making all kinds of sandwiches with these rolls, and so dinner, like, most people would have Thanksgiving lunch, they call it Thanksgiving dinner, but to me, they had that at lunchtime. Like, I don't consider 1 o'clock in the afternoon dinner. I never understood that, but, you know, and whenever I would ask a friend, like, why? Like, what, like, I don't get it. And they were saying that it's still Thanksgiving dinner because they're just doing nothing but, like, eating that the whole entire day, like lunchtime and dinner time, snacking on things. But, I don't know, to us, Thanksgiving dinner was dinner. We had it at dinner time, and sometimes things ran late, so maybe dinner might be at 8 o'clock or later. So it was what it was, and you just rolled with it. But Thanksgiving Day was the day that the Christmas tree was decorated. So the holiday decorations went up, and that was the beginning of, so along with, my mom just cooking things in the kitchen, my dad was dealing with like the Christmas lights outside and decorating everything inside, and all of us were putting ornaments on the trees and all the ornaments that we made as kids. And so that was our Thanksgiving tradition. And the day after that was my parents' anniversary. So, just little things to celebrate and have fun with. And so that's the closest that Thanksgiving would blend in with Christmas, or that's the earliest that Christmas would bleed into another holiday. So Christmas wasn't like at the beginning of September and you're seeing all the decorations. There's none of that, at least from what I can remember. But yeah, this time of year is when I miss home the most, and I miss the changing of the season changes and the leaves changing color, and like the leaves rotting. The smell of that in the air, and the campfires, and just the cozy times, and the scary movies, the snacks, the fun activities, the haunted things, the decorations, the costumes, and the hay rides, and all of that. And although there was one year when there was just it's a pretty tragic story that came about, and I won't bring this up now because I don't want to scare anybody or any kids that might be listening, or even adults that might be listening, and because it is pretty morbid, and not I don't know, I might save it for my memoirs. But yeah, I don't know. Because I love this time of year, and I'm missing home and just all of that coziness. I noticed that I've been avoiding this for some weeks, but I was recently just buying up a bunch of candles because I miss fall and the smell and home so much. And I didn't go crazy. Well, I went sort of crazy, but not where I'm going to be destitute crazy. But still, I bought a lot of candles because I just love that smell of all things fall, and the spices and just all that seasonal stuff. And the way that the air is, all of it. So, I'm going to wrap this up here. I think I've gone on long enough and drawn you into my golden hour. So I want you to go off and enjoy yours. And if you didn't have a chance to be out and enjoy the full moon, I think it's still kind of full-ish. So I guess it's not the 100% full moon, but it's the full moon light. Hey, get it? I just caught that. But I meant light, like the 90% full moon. The taste of the full moon, but less fat. So, yeah, go out and soak up those moonbeams. Go out for an evening stroll if you can, but be safe. Again, look out for yourself, look out for your fellow man and woman. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me. I am on different platforms. I'm on the Podbean. I'm on the YouTube. I'm on the Spotify and such. And feel free to check out my YouTube channel, Mari's Golden Hour. I will post up some videos there. Some things are of interest. Some things may not. Those videos might not be all glammed out. Heck, even this podcast might not be all glammed out, and I might not always be verbally eloquent, but, hey, I'm just being human, and I do thank you for hanging out with me and checking out my musings, and hopefully this is helpful to somebody at some point, and, yeah, so, just to let you know, along with those videos, sometimes I may not be as verbally eloquent as I want to be because maybe something's happening in the environment, and the environment will sometimes dictate how eloquent I can be. So, but anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me in my golden hour. So go out there and enjoy your golden hour, and be kind to yourself and each other. Ciao.